Onward is a tragedy. Not the movie itself, but the circumstances surrounding it. Released on the cusp of the COVID-19 pandemic, the film was already not projected to be one of Pixar's big box office heavy hitters. Unfortunately, it had its run still cut short after a disastrous launch, where it grossed a meager $104 million worldwide against a particularly massive $250 million budget. As a result, the film has been put on all digital platforms prematurely, where Disney's hoping it can find a second life, and as of last Friday, just became available for all Disney Plus subscribers way earlier than intended. And that is how I personally watched the film. And you know what? I hope it does find a second life. It never reaches the highs of Pixar's best, but I feel that there is still so much heart poured into every frame of this movie that it overcomes many of its flaws. The story of Onward follows two brothers, Ian and Barley, who couldn't be any more different from each other. Ian is timid, scrawny, but intelligent, while his older brother Barley is confident, passionate, yet he often finds himself getting into trouble. On Ian's 16th birthday, both brothers are gifted a wizard's staff from their father who died before Ian was even born. You see, the world this movie is set in used to be a magical fantasy world. No humans are in sight, only fantasy creatures inhabit this world, such as elves, pixies, and goblins. But over time, magic gave way to electricity and other modern conveniences. Before long, their world became not too dissimilar from our own. Think bright, but with good world building. To give you an idea on what this world looks like, picture as if the filmmakers took Lord of the Rings, Magic the Gathering, Dungeons and Dragons, threw all of that together, and then they took those contents and gave it a last finish of 2000 suburban America. Anyways, back to the story. Ian Barley's father not only left them a wizard's staff, but he also left them a spell, which will allow them to bring him back to life for a day, with the catch that it can only be used once. Ian, who couldn't care less about magic, but has been obsessed with finally meeting his father, is able to cast a spell. However, the spell goes horribly awry due to Ian's inexperience, and as a result, only their father's legs spawn into their world. Now, the two brothers have just 24 hours to find a way to bring the rest of their father back. And thus, much to Barley's insistence, they head out on a quest with their torso-less father in tow. If that concept sounds familiar, well, it kind of did for me as well. It's as if the movie took the family road trip angle from a Goofy movie and mixed it in with the themes of death that you could find in Coco, even down to the plot device of there being a time limit to meet a dead loved one. So what really makes Onward special, though, isn't the story itself, but how it uses fantasy magic to tell a relatable story. So while it doesn't handle death quite as beautifully or tenderly as Coco did, I still think it's a worthwhile effort from Dan Scanlon, who co-wrote and directed this film based on his own personal experiences. In fact, going back to that setting, the act of watching the movie was fun in and of itself. It had to reach a point where if I wanted to take notes on the film, I had to pause it because I didn't want to miss any of the fun Easter eggs or sight gags that the animators threw in. It was while I was watching the film where I was reminded just how nothing in an animated movie is added by accident. Every single detail in every single frame, whether it's the patches on Barley's jean jacket, or the road signs, or the products you spot in the gas stations, it shows just how much love and care was put into making this setting and this world feel lived in. Even moments like an airplane flying over these beautiful Middle-earth-esque vistas really drives that home. As I've already kind of alluded, when it comes to the rest of the movie, it's pretty standard stuff. In fact, I really wasn't that much into the first act of the film. I thought a lot of dialogue was pretty heavy-handed and expository. At one point, It's not really a spoiler, but Ian stops in a restaurant to grab some breakfast on his way to school, and the guy he sits next to as he's waiting for his food just happens to recognize the sweater that Ian is wearing and recognizes the name on it, Lightfoot. Oh, that belonged to my classmate. Oh, it's a real shame that he died. I felt that whole exchange just felt very artificial. It felt like it was there just to remind us that, oh man, he's dead. He was such a good guy. And there are a couple of other moments in the film that are like that where character motivations are spelled out. And I get that it's a children's movie, but it could have been handled a little more, tactfully. Just because I know that Pixar is capable of doing better writing than that. There's another issue I had with the story that I'll admit is a bit of weird nitpick and isn't so much a complaint anymore, but I felt it was still worth bringing up. One of Ian's defining character traits, as I mentioned, is that he's obsessed with meeting his father. But the issue I had with that is I didn't quite understand why Ian would be mourning his father's death since he literally never knew him. He died before he was even born. I can understand if it was Barley's perspective because, from my understanding, their father died when Barley was extremely young, like maybe a toddler. So I could understand from his perspective why he would want to see him again. But it just felt a little odd for me that Ian would be so transfixed on this and have this void in his life that, I missed my dad that I literally never knew, if that makes any sense. It seemed a little odd to me. But the reason I bring it up is because the movie actually does address this very poignantly. So I don't want to give that away, but I just want you to know that if this troubles you the same way it did for me, then I wouldn't worry about it too much because the movie does address it and addresses it very well. Moving on to the supporting cast, it was pretty hit and miss for me. I really enjoyed the chemistry between Ian and Barley's mom and the Manticore as they went on their own quest to track down the two brothers, with the Manticore gradually becoming the legendary creature that she once was. On the other hand, I didn't really care much for Officer Bronco. I felt that his character only existed as an obstacle and to be the token mom's new boyfriend role. Supporting cast aside, the movie lives and dies by the chemistry between Ian and Barley. After all, they are the focus of the film, and if the chemistry doesn't work, then the film won't work. But thankfully it does. It's one of the film's strongest elements. You can feel real, genuine love between these two, whether it's through wrestling, or fighting, or teasing each other. They feel like brothers. It's really strong. There's a really strong relationship between those two. And there was one moment that really stuck out to me where Barley is watching Ian in this life or death situation, and Barley can do nothing to help him. So all Barley can do is just watch, and you see the panic overwhelm him. You see tears start to swell in his eyes, and that stuck out to me because that's the first time you ever see Barley show any signs of fear, that he's scared. And it's just moments like that where you feel that affection that these two have for each other. Even if it's a rocky relationship, I mean, that's what family is all about. And I truly believe a lot of this success can be attributed to the voice performances of Tom Holland and Chris Pratt. And even though they were definitely typecast in these roles, I mean, Tom Holland plays the shy nerd. He's basically Peter Parker again. Chris Pratt plays the stupid, strong dude, basically Star-Lord. And they worked in this film. It's hard to really just put it any other way. They had really strong chemistry. They brought a lot of their actual friendship into these roles. I read that they improvised some of their dialogue. I can totally see that. I couldn't imagine anyone else playing these roles. It was really strong casting, which is especially impressive because of how bluntly overexposed they are right now. Anyways, that's all I've got to say on Onward. It's not one of Pixar's best films. It is mired by some clunky writing and not great supporting characters and a pretty basic storyline. But it overcomes that. It has gorgeous animation. It has a wonderful setting that I kept just wanting to drink in throughout the entire runtime. It's got strong lead characters. Um, yeah, it didn't deserve to bomb nearly as badly as it did. It's a real shame that it did, but considering the circumstances, I suppose that just it couldn't have been avoided, unfortunately. So yeah, I would give this film a solid 8 out of 10, considering what's going on right now. If you have Disney Plus, or if you don't, but you have kids and you might want to consider renting it or buying it, I would definitely highly recommend it. I think it's definitely a great movie for kids. I think kids will love it. And adults, you may not find the same satisfaction you get from some of Pixar's other great films, but there are definitely way worse ways to spend 100 minutes of your time. I mean, there are worse movies that Disney put out last year. So, yeah, definitely give it a shot. Alright, that's it for the first episode, everyone. Just to let you know that this is going to be a shorter episode than usual. My goal here is to do 3 movies a week. Sort of bring back the old 20 to 30 minute episode format that you would used to see in shows like Siskel and Ebert way back in the 80s and 90s. The only reason that this episode is shorter is because I really just felt like I had to get something out now. Sort of a testing ground. You can consider this like a pilot or a test run, whatever you prefer. I just wanted to get a feel for recording and editing and maybe get some feedback from you guys. So if you liked what you saw, please feel free to give me a like, comment below, let me know what you think. If you really want to watch more, you can subscribe. Apparently you can ring this bell now. I don't know. I mean, I haven't uploaded a video to YouTube in like 5 years. So a lot of this is still very new to me. Yeah, and also please share with your friends and family, anyone who you think might be interested in watching me talk about movies. Because I've noticed a lot of people have really appreciated my reviews in the past, the ones that I've written, and I have finally decided that written reviews do have a limited audience, unfortunately. I think a lot of people are more engaged when they can see the person expressing their thoughts, so that's the direction I'm going to start taking. I still have plans to keep writing reviews, but in order for my thoughts on films to become more accessible to the rest of the world, figured I'll just go ahead and record myself talking about it. And the more videos of these I make, the better I'll get at it. So yeah, once again, please feel free to give me some feedback and suggestions. I'm more than happy to listen to any criticism you guys might have. I mean, it wouldn't be fair if I critique movies and I consider myself critic proof. That wouldn't make sense. So yeah, and I apologize about the really shoddy video and audio quality of this episode. Unfortunately, this is just how they're going to look and sound for a while, because I am literally working with the cheapest equipment that I could find that wasn't total garbage tier. So I apologize for that, and I apologize if this video is really hard to listen to. The goal right now is to look back on this first episode 5 years from now and just really cringe and want to die while watching it. Like, what the hell was I thinking putting this video together? So that's the goal. And the only way that can happen is with you guys. So please, once again, let me know what you think. And if you guys want me to tackle newer movies, older movies, whatever you want, I'm open to suggestions. It's going to be a little tricky right now to do contemporary films because so much of it is rent and buy only. So, and the way that these movies are being priced, it's a little costly, like definitely more than an average movie ticket. So I have to weigh my options here, but I'll see what I can do. The goal here is to do like contemporary movie reviews every week of the hottest new releases. And I understand that's a little tricky right now because of the virus and how that's changed the entire release schedule. So as time goes on, things might change. Everyone's adjusting right now, and it does seem a little weird to be starting this series in the middle of this unprecedented pandemic year, but I figured if I don't get this out now, then I probably never was going to get it out. So here it is. And yeah, once again, just do all those things I said before. You can follow me on Twitter at Connor Cinema. That's CONNER Cinema, all in one word. And yeah, I'll be posting updates on writing, recording, editing reviews, new videos when they get put up. I do have plans to make video essays in the future, but that's gonna have to wait until I definitely get better audio equipment. So bear with me on that, but that is the plan. That is the goal. So yeah, stay healthy, please. Enjoy some movies. I hope you guys check out Onward. It's really fun, um, especially if you have kids. They'll definitely love it. Yeah, just take care, please, above all else. And I will see you again soon.